Hi, Bethany. It's great that you joined me today. Thank you so much for offering to share your experience working with Beyond the Chaos.
Sure, happy
Can,
to.
can you fill me in on your name, your company, and your role there?
Sure, my name is Bethany McClellan, and I own a company called Rapid Business Plans. And I am the owner, and my role right now is leading our team of marketing professionals.
What is the service you provide to your clients, and who are those clients? Who are you serving?
Sure. So we write business plans and feasibility studies for companies getting SBA and USDA loans.
But you do it really fast.
We do
Hence,
it really fast.
McClellan.
Yeah. Yeah, we do business, I'll give a little plug for myself and say we write business plans in 4 days, feasibility studies in 3 weeks, sometimes 2 weeks.
With a great team. How did you originally find Beyond the Chaos?
Well, the whole story, if I back up, is that I had hired a company, a coaching company to help me scale my business several years ago. And they said when you get to a certain point, you'll need an integrator. When it was time to get an integrator, I Googled fractional integrator and you came up. And yeah, I whatever it was about your website really attracted me and I wanted to work with you.
So, what else, before you went down this path, what else had you tried to kind of solve the problems that you were facing on your own?
Well, I really needed to get out of production. And years before when I first hired the coaching company, 5, 6 years ago, and they said to get an integrator, I got one too soon. And it was a person that had no experience being an integrator before. And, it was a person that, I'd given them any kind of work and they were really good at it. And so I assumed, I just thought that they'd be good at this. But really, neither one of us kind of really knew what the role would entail or what we could do with it. And so we didn't really go anywhere. And then that person became my project manager. That didn't quite work as well. And so, I had wrong people in the wrong seats. And when it came time to hire you, it just was a really good fit for us.
That kind of leads us into, why was it important for you to fix or change why you engaged us? What were the biggest challenges and why was it important to solve them?
Sure. Well, I was really becoming the bottleneck in everything. So as I'm like, trying to do this other thing, grow the business in an exponential way, I'm being pulled in other directions to, solve problems or put out fires and, talk to clients and stuff like that. And even, do some of the production work, which, I fortunately haven't done for a while now, but I really needed to get out of that day-to-day stuff so I could focus on growing the business.
You're really preaching to a lot of the people who come to speak to us, because that bottleneck is the big thing that the owner gets involved in.
Yes.
And you probably have even noticed, what we've worked together for about a year and a half now. You've probably even noticed that as we eliminate bottlenecks, more and more come up. The owner's always the bottleneck, it's always you. So constantly shedding is a hard thing to do. What's the first thing we did, and how'd you feel about it?
Well, one of the first things that you all did for us was put a layer between me and our staff members so that, there was a structural level where I didn't need to be involved in the day to day with employee, minutia as we started to grow, because I think we've gone from probably about 25 people when you started with us to now maybe like over 40 at this point. So it got to a certain point where, it was just too much to manage. And so you really created the layer. And part of that was through better communication that we did. You started us with Slack, which we were using Asana at the time for our project management software. And then we started using it in conjunction with Slack. And I really, at the time, I was like, this just seems like more complexity and we need more simplicity. But the Slack really has proven to be really instrumental in as a communication tool internally, not only about projects, but about certain topics. And, it's been a way for us to develop culture too, as well at the company. And I really appreciate that because, we all work remotely and it's hard to get to know everyone. So
The other thing I think that it does too is it gets everybody off their personal devices. So you
sure.
are not hunting down phone numbers and all that. You just can be
Right.
right there for people. So
Yes.
that was the first step. But what continued to happen? What else happened as we worked together?
I hate to say I hardly remember it because you all work so hard, but one of the instrumental things was switching from Asana to Teamwork. That really helped me with looking at job costing. And so I could really tell our profitability. Like I kind of in my head had an idea of how it should be, what the profits we should be making. Now I'm able to see on Teamwork per project, our profitability in that project, which has been instrumental for me. I don't really happen to know how it works for a project management perspective because when we got Teamwork, I like all of a sudden, like, I don't even think I have a login. So
You do have a login, but the beauty is you don't have to use it.
and I never have. So
That's a nice step away.
yes,
I think we also worked in the sales area too to help get you a little bit removed from that. Going to
yes,
HubSpot, worked with your husband Ross, who's the lead
yes,
salesperson. Can you
yes.
talk a little bit about that?
Sure. HubSpot has been also really key for us. I didn't understand why we needed all these different, softwares, but everything really is working together quite nicely, all the technology that we use, and I appreciate that. With HubSpot, this has been incredible for us from a marketing perspective, how we keep in touch with people and what we know about the people we keep in touch with. So from a marketing perspective, it's been really great. But then, like you said, from a sales perspective, which is, different, we've really been able to improve our outcomes with sales because of HubSpot. I don't know if I want to give this away, but like one of my favorite things is that when we send out a sales email, like after we've had a discovery call, we know if the person has clicked on our links. And so, that's a great time. Like if they don't, buy from us right then, it's a great time to reach out and say, hey, was just thinking about you because they were just thinking about us. So I really love that as a sales tool.
Using that AI part of that to be able to help support your clients getting the help they need, I think is important.
For sure.
I look at it that way. Did you have written processes before we started?
Well, whatever we did have was pretty outdated.
I know you had some training, and I think we've worked some on that too.
We had pretty decent training before you came on board, and we've really enhanced it since working with Beyond the Chaos. And so uh, that was an area that I've always been lacking in. And so, that's why we hire some of the best people so that, if our training is lacking, like at least they're really smart.
They
But,
are.
now our training is up to par where it needs to be. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive to come in to an organization that had some structure and was so open. You were so open to adding more. We loved being able to help you with all of that.
Sure. Do you normally encounter resistance?
Sometimes
Yeah.
there is sometimes some resistance, a little bit of pushback, or even fear of, is this going to remove me too far? Or even is it going to put in too much bureaucracy? And then we're not
Right.
fast, we're not speedy, we're not agile. But I would say that you're probably a little more agile today. So
Absolutely.
where
No,
do you believe you are today?
we had scrambled to meet deadlines before. Sometimes, like, I would say probably half the time we were meeting deadlines, and the other half the time we were missing it by like hours or maybe a day. And now we just don't miss deadlines at all. And so, that's been, obviously we want to deliver when we say we're going to deliver. And we've really been able to, through staff development and through, the ways we communicate, really eliminate any of those issues.
What
As far
about
as I know, that's right? We don't miss deadlines anymore, right?
We don't. What about you personally? Where do you feel like you've come from when we started to now?
Well, I started working with you, I believe, in the fall of 2022. And I probably relinquished control like slightly too soon at that point, but I just was really burnt out and I took most of 2023 off. I mean, I was really still involved in the marketing and messaging and stuff like that, but I mean, because you came in and, took over a lot of the stuff that I was doing and implemented more processes and technology, I was able to have a year where I spent a lot of time, recovering from burnout. And for me, money well spent and time well spent as well.
So would you say you're on the other side of burnout now? Are you more excited about your company and its
Oh
future?
yeah. I've taken like 2 days off since like December and like I'm thrilled about it. So I just have gotten really fired up about our marketing recently. And you know, you've been there to support that as well because the marketing is working and we're getting a lot more deal flow and really appreciate you, you know, helping absorb that.
The scaling is what we're here for. We want that to
Yep.
continue. So, what are the takeaways that you would give someone else who was considering jumping in and working with us, or even just taking on a fractional implementer or even project manager on their team?
Sure. Well, I want to give the message that probably your prospective clients want to hear, which is that our revenue has doubled since we've been working with you. And that's because I've been able to focus on our marketing. The first calendar year that we worked with Beyond the Chaos, we increased 65% in revenue over the year before. We couldn't have done that without the help of you and your company. And I'm at a point now where I don't have to work if I don't want to, and I really want to right now. But if I wanted to completely like leave the business for 90 days, I'd feel confident that everything would still get done.
That's pretty awesome. I love
Yeah.
that. Anything else you want to add?
I'm not saying this from a price perspective, but from a value, there's so much value in what you do. Not that you're like a low cost option, but it's just, you know, I find so much value in the input that you give.
Well, thank you, Bethany. We appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time to do this. And also thank you for a year and a half of great
Yes.
partnership and
Yes.
actually working together. I love it when
Yes.
something comes together where you share and get there together. And I think that this is a good example of that.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.